Guyana's teachers threaten larger strike weeks after agreeing to arbitration in their salary dispute. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Thursday, October 4th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. The Guyana Teachers Union, the GTU, is threatening strike action again, this time over the appointment of a chairman for the arbitration panel examining their salary dispute with government. The union wants the minister responsible for labor, Keith Scott, to rescind the appointment of Dr. Leyland Lucas. Scott had appointed Dr. Lucas after the GTU and the Education Ministry failed to reach an agreement. But the union is insisting the minister can only nominate a chairman, not just appoint one. GTU President Mark Light has expressed a lack of faith in the arbitration process and said the union has rejected in no uncertain terms Minister Scott's appointee.
And we believe that a neutral person should be nominated for both sides to agree on the panel. I'm of the view that there is some sinister plans afoot to thwart the process and not to allow fairness and equity to prevail.
Last month, at the beginning of the school year, teachers took strike action to press government for a 40% pay hike for 2016 and 5% annually from 2017 to 2020. But they subsequently returned to the classrooms and agreed to send their industrial dispute to arbitration. Light says if Dr. Lucas's appointment is not rescinded, an even bigger strike will hit the country.
I believe we're going to have a significantly larger amount of support for the fact that if persons were in doubt as to what we were up against in the first instance, they have been following in a keener way the events that unfolded with the minister with responsibility for labor and how he has acted. And more persons are saying to us, we believe that these folks don't have any intention to address the concerns of teachers. So we expect more persons, more parents. We expect a lot of support from the community in which the strike action will be the actions will be taking place. We expect more support from teachers from all across the region. So I believe it's going to be bigger than the last time.
And over in Trinidad and Tobago, the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, the OWTU, on Thursday resumed the protest against the closure of the refinery at state-owned oil company Petrotrin. Leg 1 of the 3-day march began at the refinery at Pointe-a-Pierre and ended at the Rienzi complex in Couva, where workers spent Wednesday night. Workers from the refinery, which will cease operations on November 30th, began the second leg of the march at around daybreak on Thursday. They were joined by All Trinidad Sugar and General Workers Trade Union President Nirvan Maharaj, Sheep and Goat Farmers Association Shiraz Khan, and members of the Communication Workers Union as they headed to Orangwes Savannah. OWTU President General Ansel Roger is confident the show of force will stop government's plan to shut down the refinery and send home thousands of workers. CNC3's Jesse Ramdeo reports.
He says during the journey, the union will correct misinformation that the government is spreading about workers and Petrotrin. Today, they created several bubblies to get their message across. Joining the march was President of the National Trade Union Center, Watson Duke.
We always represent one thing, labor, people. And if the people in South are affected, then the people in Port of Spain, in the East, in Tobago, all over Trinidad and Tobago, they are affected. And so we are here this morning symbolizing, as with the say back home, we did it. We did it with the OWTU, and we did it with Trinidad and Tobago.
Congress of the People political leader Carolyn C. Prasad Bechan also joined the march.
So now it is up to the citizens of this country to stand up against this decision.
And that report was from Otto Carrington of CNC3 News. And still in the Twin Island Republic, police officers will be deployed within the maximum security prison in Golden Grove, Aruca, as part of law enforcement officials' response to the murder of a senior prisons superintendent. The move was announced in a media release by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the TTPS, on Thursday after Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith, accompanied by a specialized unit of officers, carried out a walkthrough at the prison. He also met with members of the prison service. The TTPS statement said the discussions would help pinpoint locations for the deployment of police officers within the maximum security prison. Minister of National Security Stuart Young on Wednesday said that an interagency task force would launch a response to the murder of Senior Superintendent Wayne Jackson, who was shot dead outside his home in Malabar on Tuesday night. Officials have said the killing may have been ordered from inside prison. Young has also said Jackson was trying to clamp down on criminals operating inside the jail. In Jamaica, a top-level investigation has been ordered into whether a police corporal is linked to a criminal gang in Portmore, St. Catherine. The 52-year-old officer, who is attached to the St. Catherine South Police Division, was arrested during an operation by the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Division, CTOC. We get more in this TVJ News report.
Investigators suspected that the cop was a member of the Umbrella Gang and that he went to the area last night to deliver guns and ammunition to gang members. An AK-47 rifle, a Taurus 9mm pistol, and several rounds of ammunition were reportedly found in a vehicle driven by the policeman. The corporal and an 18-year-old man were held with the two illegal weapons during a snap raid on Myers Lane, Newland, St. Catherine. The policeman's licensed firearm was also seized. A pair of license plates was reportedly found in the trunk of the car. A man suspected to be the intended recipient of the guns escaped. He goes by the alias Terror Blacks.
Still to come in Caribbean Newsline, regional officials explore the possibilities and opportunities for Caribbean tourism. We'll be right back.
Let me start up by saying the energy, turn up. So the uniform, turn up. In that performance, you had some moments that were some awesome moments. And before I give you a score, those awesome moments are going to get a prize.
So you're performing today, right? What is it that brought you here besides the actual performance? Is there anything bigger than that, the message in itself?
I mean, I've been involved with Prodev for about 8 years now. I actually helped open one of their schools, the École Nouvelle Zoologie. I went down there every day in like August 2010 to September, getting pictures and birth certificates, a whole registration process I was completely involved with.
Welcome back. Regional tourism officials are attending a 3-day conference to explore the possibilities and opportunities to rejuvenate and recreate the sector in the Caribbean. Bahamas Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis told the opening ceremony at the State of the Tourism Industry Conference, SOTEC, on Tuesday night in the Bahamas that in many ways the potential of the Caribbean is untapped. We get more in this ZNS Network News report.
Tourism officials playing host to one of the premier tourism conferences on its calendar, the State of Tourism Industry Conference, or SOTEC 2018. The Prime Minister officially opened the conference Tuesday night at the Atlantis Resort's Grand Ballroom. More than 300 delegates from the tourism sectors are expected to attend the event. Prime Minister Dr. The Honorable Hubert Minnis highlighted that the tourism industry offers more employment and engagement opportunities than almost any other economic sector.
Governments play an essential role in helping entrepreneurs to gain access to the skills and resources needed for success. If we can give birth to a generation of new entrepreneurs, we can move Caribbean tourism to greater heights and in many new directions. And one of these new directions is a greater global involvement in tourism by the people of the Caribbean.
Minister of Tourism and Aviation, the Honorable Dionisio de Aguilar, says the region's #1 business, tourism, is a robust, dynamic enterprise that is constantly evolving. And with that in mind, conferences like SOTIC are necessary.
I see SOTIC 2018 as a series of illustrious university courses in tourism. We are here primarily to learn. We will learn about the trends that are taking our industry in new directions. We will learn about the best practices that guarantee effective, efficient delivery of our tourism product offerings.
Caribbean Tourism Organization Secretary General Hugh Riley reflected on the fact that 1 year ago, 2 Category 5 hurricanes wreaked havoc throughout the region, but he notes the Caribbean is a place of resilience and continues to rebuild.
Rebuilding has occurred. Some of it still underway in the hardest hit areas, and much has been written about the solidarity of the Caribbean, neighbors helping neighbors, unaffected territories and affected ones reaching out to each other. If there is a good thing about a crisis, it is the camaraderie it encourages.
Jamaica's Health Minister, Dr. Christopher Tufton, is defending the move to restrict the sale of sugary drinks in schools after a leading biochemist criticized the initiative. Professor Errol Morrison, who heads the Diabetes Association of Jamaica, on Wednesday said it would be wrong to take sugary products from students, especially those who depend on the government for a daily meal. The health minister says that comment flies in the face of significant research on the negative effects of sugary drinks. He says it's discouraging that someone of the stature of Professor Morrison would make a statement against a body of work that has been tested and proven. Effective January 2019, government will implement a policy to restrict certain types of sugary drinks in schools and public health institutions as part of the focus on reducing non-communicable diseases. We get more in this TVJ News report.
Professor Errol Morrison, who has studied the impact of sugar on the human body for over 40 years, is telling the government it is wrong to take sugary products from students, especially the poorer 50% in primary schools who depend on the government for a daily meal.
Over 50% of these children are on the government subsidy program, the PATH program. And especially in the inner cities or in the deep rural areas, these young children have to walk miles to get to school. And they're getting there without breakfast quite often. Now then, when they get to school and the bag juice man is at the corner, and they buy a bag juice, they're getting sugar. Let me remind you, ladies and gentlemen, 50% of that sugar that they are taking in goes to their brain. They need it to learn, to think, to memorize. It's good for them.
He said the campaign would be better served if it targeted better off students who are well fed and whose parents take them to and from school daily.
For them, that bag juice is unnecessary and could be problematic. I want these messages to say that. But you can't knock a sugary drink in a child going to school hungry. That sugary drink, 50% of it, remember that, 50% of it goes to help the brain to function. The brain depends on glucose almost absolutely.
Professor Morrison was speaking on Wednesday at a luncheon put on by the Lions Club of Kingston. He said he decided to come public with his views because he wanted to correct the misinformation in the public space.
So that we, right across the, because the medical profession in general, you know, is a little reticent about these ads because they feel that it has not taken the correct and detailed scientific approach and modifies its message in the most accurate way.
But the professor's explanations did not sit well with one clinical nutritionist in the room. Dr. Suzanne Soares-Winter is one of the minds behind the state's health-based campaign.
While glucose is the main source of energy that the body uses, sugar is not the only nutrient that we need. So we need proteins, we need other types of carbohydrates. Glucose is just one of them. And we need fats in the diet. And so by just having a sugary drink, it's not just for cognitive function. A child needs energy for physical activity, to stay awake, to move about in schools.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, India dominates the opening day of the first test against the West Indies.
This hurricane tip comes to you compliments the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and the Caribbean Media Corporation. Be prepared. Before, during, and after hurricane hits, keep working phone lines free for important calls.
Imagine a tropical getaway where you can indulge in unsurpassed cuisine, culture, and adventure this side of the hemisphere at a special rate. Fall for Barbados this October and dive into the rich offerings of the Caribbean Sea, or hear the stirring melodies of jazz at the Elan Trotman Jazz Excursion. Explore fine dining with our world-renowned Barbados Food and Rum Festival. Journey to our many attractions. There is so much to see and do in Barbados this October. Book today with code #4BGI.
Moved roughly 4 to 5% of its gross domestic product every year. So to subsidize East Germany, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and so we're still paying the so-called solidarity tax in basically in West Germany in order to fund this. And this works like Italy, like southern Italy, exactly in the same way.
West Indies suffered at the hands of teenager Prithvi Shaw, who struck the third fastest 100 on debut as India dominated the opening day of the first test on Thursday. Opting to bat first at the Saurashtra Cricket Association Stadium, India marched to 364 for 4 at the close, with the 18-year-old Shaw belting a superb 134 and captain Virat Kohli ominously poised on an unbeaten 72. Cheteshwar Pujara had earlier missed out on 100 when he stroked 86, as India recovered from the loss of opener KL Rahul in the first over without scoring to collar the visitors' bowling attack. Shaw gathered his runs on both sides of the wicket, taking 12 from Kimo Paul's second over of the morning, courtesy of 3 boundaries, before driving the same bowler for 4s through the off and leg side to move into the 40s. He reached his half-century of 56 deliveries and was unbeaten on 75 of 74 deliveries at lunch, as India reached 133 for 1 with Pujara on 56. He raced into the 90s with another pulled boundary off the ineffective Devendra Bishru before raising 3 figures off just 99 balls, nearly 3/4 of an hour after the interval, punching Paul to cover for a couple. With the achievement, Shaw became the 4th youngest player to score 100 on debut and the youngest ever Indian. Meanwhile, West Indies bowling legend Courtney Walsh says experience was missing from the Caribbean side's bowling department. Walsh, who is currently the head coach of the Bangladesh squad, gave his assessment of the first test in an interview with ESPN's Crick Info. The Windies bowlers were put to the sword on the opening day as the Indian batsmen dominated on the favourable conditions at Rajkot. Captain Jason Holder was forced to miss the first test because of injury, a big blow for the Windies, but he's due to return to duty in time for the second test. Walsh says Thursday's performance suggests that holders' experience was needed.
Experience. I mean, we have two guys playing 3 test matches between them. So that in itself, you know it's not going to be as well as you want it to be. And losing the captain is one thing, but then he has been the bowler who has been more consistent in terms of bowling lots of holes and less runs. So they have missed that experience from him as well. So it's always going to be tough. Probably a little bit too easy, but you can't be too critical on the guys on this type of wicket. And with the attack that we had in terms of the experience, maybe, as you pointed out, we could have attacked a little bit more to two new batsmen, but it's tough conditions.
Right. A half-century from the experienced Rovman Powell gave Jamaica Scorpions their first victory against combined campuses and colleges Marooners in the Regional Super 50 at the 3Ws Oval on Thursday. After winning the toss, CCC took to the crease and set up a competitive 219 for 8 from 50 overs. Kishan Otley had a run of 43 from 62 deliveries, while Caron Cotoy remained unbeaten on 40. Captain Carlos Brathwaite also chipped in with 26 for the Marooners. Right-arm medium pacer O'Shane Thomas had figures of 2 for 41 as the best wicket taker for the Scorpions. But with the Scorpions reeling on 85 for 3 in their reply, Powell stepped up to the plate and smashed a breathtaking 79, which included 6 sixes and 2 fours to help guide the Scorpions to victory by 7 wickets. Andre McCarthy was also sensational with the bat as he finished unbeaten on 72 from 69 balls. Earlier, the Scorpions had lost Chris Gale on 21 and Jermaine Blackwood on 36. And in the opening matches, a hat-trick from Riyad Emrit was enough to condemn Windward Islands Volcanoes to a 75-run loss in what was the first rain-affected match of the Regional Super 50 against Trinidad and Tobago's Red Force. Emrit picked up figures of 3 for 5 as the Volcanoes were reduced to 145 for 8 in their runs chase of 220 for 8 set by the host team. The short innings of 37 overs saw Kyle Mears hitting an unbeaten 55, while Shane Shillingford chipped in with 29. Earlier, experienced batsman Nicholas Puran top scored with 89, while Narayan added 35 and Kyle Hope perished on 38. Mears was equally entertaining with the ball as he had best bowling figures of 4 for 58. Over at the Taruba facility, Windies B dismissed Canada by 10 runs in their day-night match. Batting first, Windies B posted 303 for 8 in the allotted 50 overs. Captain Marlon Samuels hit a century. And left-arm medium pacer Ramesh Dawn took 5 wickets for 31 runs. And in reply, Canada folded on 292 for 8. Over to action in the World Volleyball Championship, where Trinidad and Tobago suffered their 4th straight defeat in the first round of competition in Japan. TV6's Sergio Dufour has that story.
Darlene Ramdin, serving on this occasion, sought to give Trinidad and Tobago the edge over Azerbaijan, but Polina Rahimova was getting it done for the opposition, who went ahead at 10-9. It would be a marathon first set, and TNT had their moments.
Rahimova, who's denied. What a block from Trinidad.
But the Calypso Spikers missed 4 set points, including 2 in a row from 24 to 22, before Azerbaijan wrapped it up 29 to 27. They had to start all over in the second set, and the Calypso Spikers were well within it by keeping the gap to 10-9. However, TNT fell off from thereafter. Shannon Thompson, who scored 14 points, was rejected by some solid blocking by Azerbaijan, who went ahead at 25-16. Azerbaijan sustained their momentum going into the third set as TNT had no answer towards getting back into the match. TNT could not match their opponents shot for shot and lost the final set 25-17. Tomorrow, the Calypso Spikers face Korea as they seek to get their first points in their last match of the group stage.
And finally, a look at netball. Jamaica's Sunshine Girls are pumped for this weekend's Sunshine Series against arch rivals Trinidad and Tobago and England. TVJ's Jermaine Brown reports.
The Sunshine Girls will first oppose TNT in a two-test series at the National Indoor Sports Centre on October 7 and 9, before facing the English in three-test matches immediately after, also at the National Indoor Sports Centre. Beckford talked up the team's chances at Wednesday's launch of the series held at the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Education and Sport, as Netball Jamaica was presented with a cheque of $2 million to help in its preparation for the series.
I just want to say on behalf of Netball Jamaica, I just want to say thank you for this contribution. This too will go a long way, and I rest assure you that in our upcoming series, we're going to play it to our utmost best. It's going to be exciting, fun, and we're going to play it with passion. And I hope for, on this journey towards our World Cup in July, I hope that you will continue to support us and continue to just be there for us. Thank you.
Meanwhile, Sports Minister Olivia Grange underlined her confidence in the Sunshine Girls and their prospects in the upcoming series.
You're showing more and more class by your recent performances, and more we are convinced, I should say Jamaica is convinced that World Championship for you is just a few passes away. So we are waiting with bated breath.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Let me start up by saying the energy, turn up. So the uniform, turn up. In that performance, he had some moments that were some awesome moments. And before I give you a score, those awesome moments are going to get a prize.
This not free, you're not getting no love if you're not have no money.
Well, you don't know, this is Stacey Expressions, aka Goody Plum. My song is entitled No Free Touch. That's a clean version on the Party Shot rhythm. Now, this song is very controversial because you have a lot of men who are fighting against it because they don't believe in paying for love. So
you're performing today, right? What is it that brought you here besides the actual performance? Is there anything bigger than that, the message in itself?
I mean, I've been involved with Prodev for about 8 years now. I actually helped open one of their schools, the École Nouvelle Zoranger. I went down there every day in like August 2010 to September, getting pictures and birth certificates, a whole registration process I was completely involved with.
Again, the major developments of this day, the Guyana Teachers Union threatened strike action over the appointment of a chairman for the arbitration panel examining their salary dispute with government. And in sport, India dominate the opening day of the first test against West Indies. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to ConnerNews.com. And for more of our programming, log on to CarVision.tv and subscribe to CarVision's YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.